Maybe it's been a while, but I think that we all remember the golden rule, right? Something we learned as kids. Maybe you learned it through a religious organization. Who knows? But you certainly are aware of it. I'm not talking about the golden rule of personal finance. I'm not talking about diversification or pay yourself first or anything like that. I'm talking about do unto others as you would have them do unto you. So treat other people the same way you would want those other people to treat you. And 99 out of 100 times, this is really, really solid advice. So as I say that, how do you think that we're doing? How do you think that we're doing as a culture right now in terms of the golden rule? Are we doing awesome at it, or are we sucking at it awfully? I think we're probably sucking at it, like really bad. Now, I say that just because, from where I sit and you look out across social media and the media just in general and television and everything else and the internet, it seems like there is a lack of empathy. There's a lack of kindness. There's a lack of the golden rule going on. There's this great quote by, now as I say, there's this great quote by this person. I'm not going to be able to pronounce their name correctly. Potentially somebody can correct me, by Dostoevsky. And that was the name I didn't think I was going to have a hard time with. I don't know if it's Fyodor or Fedor Dostoevsky. There, I did it again. Anyway, he tells us that a society should be judged not on how it treats its outstanding citizens, but how it treats its criminals. And that's sort of a hyperbolic quote, but I think that it's really head on. And I want to take it from a slightly different angle and talk about how we really need to be judged on how we're treating people who are at risk in our society, how we're treating our homeless people, our homeless population, our homeless citizens, our homeless brothers and sisters, sons and daughters. That's who a homeless person is. They're obviously an individual, but they're probably somebody's brother, somebody's sister, somebody's daughter, somebody's son, probably somebody's dad, somebody's mom. How are we treating those people? How are we treating people suffering from mental illness? A lot of the time there's a correlation there. How are we treating our elderly? Did you know that there are over 570,000 homeless people in the United States? Let that number sort of wash over you and sink in. That is a big number. And I bet that number's a lot bigger today than from wherever I read about that on the internet. I probably should have had the date. But I bet it's a lot bigger now than it was when the person wrote that. Did you know that, I have it written down here, that 43% of our elderly population are experiencing loneliness on a daily basis? Did you know that loneliness is akin to smoking a pack of cigarettes every day? So loneliness is a killer. Not only is it extremely sad, it is a killer. And then think about it from this perspective, and this isn't necessarily treat somebody as you would want to be treated, but it kind of is, that 30% of our children are being raised by a single parent. Now, I'm a product of a single parent household, and I turned out just fine. Do I think that households with two parents give children a better opportunity to succeed, give them more stability? Yes, I do. I do think that. So, people that are at risk, our elderly, our children, people suffering from mental illness, our homeless populations, how are we treating them right now? I think pretty poorly. And the things that we're focused on and the things we're so angry about are just pointing to a lack of perspective, a lack of empathy, and really, I think a lot of self-absorption. I think right now, self-absorption in our country is at an all-time high. It's at an 11 on a scale of 1 to 10. People are so self-absorbed. They're so angry. We're posting. We're hashtagging. Some people are even protesting out in the street, which is a constructive thing. So that's actually taking action and doing something about it, which I respect. Obviously, people that are committing violence and rioting, I do not respect at all. But we are experiencing right now this huge lack of empathy, this huge lack of kindness, and we've lost sight of the golden rule. And maybe this is too Pollyanna, but I don't think so. I think that the golden rule is the golden rule for a reason, and if we can get back to the basics and we get back to focusing on those things which are most important, then I think that that would really start to heal the divisions that we have in our country. I think that if we don't, I think that we might be in extreme trouble. And I think that you can certainly, I'm sure that you can identify with that. I'm sure that you're concerned with the direction that the country is going in, regardless of your political leanings or your thoughts on the protests, your thoughts on the riots, and your thoughts on everything else, that we are not moving in the right direction. And you think about, well, what can I do? What is it that I can do as an individual? And the answer is always the same. It's you need to make sure that you are taking care of yourself first. Make sure that you're making your own bed, that your grass is cut, that your yard is taken care of, that your family is safe and secure, and you're doing the things that you need to position yourself, your family, your loved ones, those you have influence over, for success. Are you treating them as you would like to be treated? And then once you've done that, you can branch out and go further. Get involved in your community. Who can you be helping in your community? How can you be strengthening those who need a little bit of help, those who are at risk? And I bet you don't need to look that far. I bet there's somebody in your own family who can probably benefit from some help. Now, how can you go about doing that? And just to, I've talked about this quite a bit as of late, because I think that now is a time to be introspective and a time to be questioning everything about why it is that you're doing the things that you're doing and why you think the thoughts that you think and how you're acting the way that you act. So are you showing up the way that you want to be showing up? Is the current version of you the version you want it to be? If it is, then that's great. Keep going. Amplify it. Strengthen that. If it's not, well, where are the opportunities for you to start getting a little bit better? How do you want to be showing up for your family? How do you want to be showing up for yourself? For your family? In your community? We need to be tending to the parts of our garden that we can reach and not worry so much about stuff that's so far out of our control, which is then, it just leads to madness. It's maddening to us. Avoid the echo chambers. Avoid the rage chambers that you find on social media. Take everything that you see with a grain of salt on television, because everybody's afflicted with bias. And then again, go back to the golden rule. Are you treating others the way that you would want to be treated? I think that is just such an enormous key. Be empathetic. Be kind. Treat others the way that you want to be treated. And remember, the only way to live how you want is to know how you want to live.